The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's Saratech Enablement session. What a great turnout we have today. Thank you for being here. My name is Andrea Hall, and I am the Customer Relationship Manager here at Saratech, and I'll be your host. Presenting today, we have Kelsey Safar, who's an Applications Engineer at Saratech, and she is going to be talking about some of the updates that we've had in Solidedge 2019 this year. There will be a part 2 to this session. Kelsey chose something that was a pretty significant change that she'll be talking about today. And then in a couple of weeks, we're going to have Jason West, who will be talking about some additional topics as well. So make sure that you sign up for that one so that you can get the reminders about the next CES session. If you haven't joined one of our customer enablement sessions before, they run about 30 to 45 minutes. They are all recorded and they're posted on our Saratech YouTube channel. So make sure that you visit our YouTube channel and check out all of our past sessions there. We meet here twice a month. It's the first and third Thursday of every month. And we just talk about tips and tricks and new and old features that will just help you with your everyday tasks. This is an open forum. So if you have any questions or comments during the presentation, just type them into the chat box or the questions box over to the right, and I'll just interrupt Kelsey and ask her your question on the spot. You can also save your questions till the end. We also have a little survey right at the end, so if you have any comments or questions you want us to follow up with you after the session, we can do that, and you can just leave those comments in the little survey right after the session is over. And with that, I am going to pass it over to Kelsey.
Thanks, Andrea. So, hi everyone, my name is Kelsey Zafar, and I have been an applications engineer with Saratech for over a year now. Today, we're going to cover Solidedge's 2019 mechanical design, but more specifically, what new features Generative Design has been implemented with, and some of them being some usability enhancements. There's new load and constraint commands, and last but not least, a lot of you guys were asking for this, how you can mass optimize your part using factor of safety. So out of all the new improvements Solidedge 2019 has done, we're specifically excited to show you mechanical design because we know that many of you guys utilize these features the most. So the three aspects that make mechanical design, the first being generative design, the second reverse engineering, and the third is additive manufacturing. So with convergent modeling, that being newer and allowing parts to combine facets, surfaces, and solids, your design being a BREP model, this is all due to synchronous technology. And so if you haven't seen it or used it before, basically it combines the best of history-based modeling and direct modeling for the industry's unique and fast, flexible approach. And for those of you who are unfamiliar with generative design, it allows a user to create the most optimal design between weight and strength while tailoring for the best manufacturing processes. Now, last year, Siemens first introduced generative design, and with Solidedge 2019, they've come up with a lot of new improvements and new features to keep this project going strong. So let's go into it. Here we have a simple part that I have created. And for those of you who aren't familiar with generative design, since it is so new, I'll be going through a brief overview, and then at the very end, we're going to see the topology optimization of it. So it's really handy. All you have to do is focus on going from left to right. So we have this part. I already have a generative study right here, but we're going to be going through it. So I picked the material aluminum 1060. Now you can always create a material and put it into Solidedge and utilize that as well. The next step is, oh, see, right here. This is material aluminum 1060. Now the second step is generative studies. So you can right through to create generative study, and it'll pop up in this Pathfinder right here. And the Pathfinder, you'll find it next to your family of parts, your layers, and it's easily shown. And you can have multiple studies as well. The third thing that you're going to do is define a design space. So here, all we did is select the entire part, and then you preserve the regions. You add some loads, some constraints, and then you choose some manufacturing settings, and you generate the case study. So we'll be going over that towards the end of the webinar. So now that you know essentially the steps to creating a generative design, now let's go over some of the new features. So the first one being the edit, handle, show values. So before, you had to edit the object to view the value. Now, when you just simply click the region, the name and the values appear. So before, this wasn't an option. Before, you had to go in and manually edit it to figure out what the value is, but now it's just a simple click away. So that was the first feature. The second one is the Generative Study data tips. So feel free to quickly view the values and settings for each generative study. So here it has a quick summary of what your study entails. So going back, all you have to do is hover. It shows us a quality of 7, some mass reduction, the factor of safety, if your material needs to remove internal voids. And all you have to do is go back and hover. Material extrusion, material spreading, and it not only does it for the generative study, but also does it for the regions, the loads, and the constraints as well. So you can see that this constraint has an offset value of 0.551. And speaking of offset values, that is the third usability enhancement that Solidedge has done, or Solidedge 2019 has done for generative design. Now, when you define a load, so let's say a force right here, or define a load, constraint, or region, generative design recommends a default offset value based on the default study quality. And this can be altered or edited in the Solidedge options. The second one is editing. So before, you have to go through the regions and through the forces and have to maneuver a little bit further, but now if you need to edit a force, all you have to do is double click the force and it goes straight into editing, in the editing mode. So it allows for quick maneuverability, and it can do it for, like we said, regions, forces, and for constraints. And you can see that you can go to your load case, and it has all the forces and constraints here as well. Next, we have the expand and next study options. So maneuvering through studies is a lot easier. Before, this next study option wasn't here, but what's nice is that if you have multiple studies, you can toggle through each design and figure out which part would be the best one for you. So here we have 3 designs. So instead of going back in the drop-down menu, which some of you might not enjoy, all you need to do is go and click through one button. And also, there's a new expand button to make your Solidedge window a lot clearer, because before it wasn't available. Before, you had to see all the loads and all the constraints that you created, but sometimes your part is much more less simple than it needs to be. So here you can just toggle in and out. So that is the third edit that Solidedge 2019 has done. The fourth one is an entirely new design constraint command. It's called Displacement, and it's under Constraints. So here, for surfaces that aren't fixed, the displacement command allows the surface to move in a specific direction and by a specific distance. So for example, say we'll use this region once again. You can choose and flip between which direction this surface will retain for a value of whichever value you would like. So for this value is 0.039. So for example, if we did have this displacement constraint, this shape would be going into the part for 0.039 inches. And then if the part exceeds its limits, then it's allowed to deform after that distance. So that's a completely new design constraint that wasn't available before, but now we have that. Fifth is something that a lot of people were asking. It's a gravity load. It's underneath the loads to the left of constraints. So this is really nice. The gravity load is not specifically just in the Z direction. Perhaps your part is this way, or if it's toggled this way, what's nice is that you can change the axis of your gravity and in the whatever direction your part is oriented. So that gravity load wasn't even there before. It was just force, pressure, and torque, and now it's available to you. And the sixth change that Solidedge 2019 has done is multiple load cases. So this is really great. Now parts are for parts that are likely to undergo opposing forces during one single operation, multiple load cases are available. So here we have a force going down. Well, let's double click it and see. It's 0.225 pounds force. But say if we wanted to create another load case, what's nice is that we could just select create load case under the create generative study. And then say if we wanted to do a pressure on the same surface, now we can do that. So now we not only have one force, but now we have two. But for this specific topology design, I didn't put in a pressure force, so let me just delete that. But now we have that option. So if you see, we have two load cases. And you can have multiple. What's nice, now you can have different load cases with different studies, so you can really go through all the different operations that you need to for one single part. So that's the sixth change that Solidedge 2019 has done. So we've gone through the materials, the studies, the different stuff for the loads and constraints. Next is the manufacturing settings. So the manufacturing settings is a new option that's available to support optimization for traditional manufacturing methods, such as casting and milling, and the two are material extrusion axis. So now you can generate a part with a constant cross-sectional thickness in the X, Y, or Z plane, and if the X if it's in the X plane, you can do it in the positive or negative direction. And the second one is material spreading. So this wasn't here before, but now it's available to you. And so it's essentially what it sounds like. It's how the material is spread throughout the part. 0% is no effect. Around 30% you have hollowed out solids. 60% you'll find thin-walled structures, and 100% you'll find strut-like structures, so kind of like spider-webbed. So for our part, we just did a simple 0, but you have the option to toggle around. And I would definitely suggest to play around with optimization, because what's nice is that when you generate, you can change the time, so you can go through a lot of iterations, but we'll go through that in a little bit. The last constraint that I do want to go over is the pin constraint. So we had that last year, but this time Solidedge kind of edited it around. Before, you could select rectangular faces and features. Now, geometry selection is limited to cylindrical and conical features, like so, such as axles and tires, and the axis of rotation is set to match the axis of selected geometry. I'd like to point out, see, this offset value is the same for the loads and the constraints, but just as a reminder, you can edit that into Solidedge options. So that was the 8th change in generative design. And last but not least, mass optimization with a factor of safety. Now, a lot of you guys were asking for this because before, the mass reduction was only available with reduced by this percentage, but now we can use a factor of safety. So you can either consult an industry standard, or you can calculate the factor of safety based on the maximum allowable design stress for your part. So I put a factor of safety of 2.5. And for those of you who are unfamiliar with the Generative Study window, this is our study quality slider bar. 0 is a fast study, and 300 is a high study. So low by no means is defined as a bad analysis. It just means that the part is going through less iterations. A higher study means the longer part that will be processed. So for this part, I just did a quick 2-minute analysis. But what I wanted to say is that you can definitely toggle through, and now you have a lot of options to test out one single part. You can play around with the processing time. You can play around with the factor of safety. You can have one single part for different studies, different load cases. So you can perform a lot of tests with one single part in one single environment, which is Solidedge 2019 Generative Design. So here we have our part. Our preserved regions, we wanted to keep these cylindrical regions the same with an offset value of 0.5 for this one, 0.551, if you guys can't see it because it might be too tiny, 0.551, 0.551 for this region. We're going to have a load of 0.225 pounds force, and then we wanted to fix these constraints as well with the same offset value. And when we ran the analysis for 2 minutes, it came up with this topology optimization with a 50% mass reduction. If you could see here, for those of you who are unfamiliar with the stress values in generative design, the red values mean that it's high in stress, and the low value means that it's low in stress, so the dark purple. And then what's nice is that you can, let me keep that back up. You can toggle in between the design body and your construction body. And what's nice is that if you enjoy, or if you like your part, and if it works for all the design loads, what's nice is that you can reverse engineer it, you can additive manufacture it, and that's all within the mechanical design options for you. So a brief, quick summary of what we went over. We went over a whole lot of stuff. We went over about 9 changes that Solidedge 2019 has done for a new program to make it a lot better and make it an ease to work with. So the first being the edit handle show values. So all you have to do is select the region, the load, and constraint, and it's really big and big text, because sometimes we know that it's really hard to read those tiny little windows, but now they're really, really big. The second one is Generative Study Data Tips. So right here, you can see a quick summary of what your study is going to be as you go through it. The Usability Enhancements. So now you can change your offset values. The editing is much easier. You can toggle through studies a lot faster. We have the new design constraint command, which is the displacement command, where the surface stays the same shape for a distance until it reaches a limit. Then it's allowed to deform. We have a completely new gravity load where you can change the gravity in different axes. We have multiple load cases. So if one singular part undergoes opposing forces, you can apply that different forces to that one single surface or feature. We have a new pin constraint, so it's specific for cylindrical and conical features. We have manufacturing settings for material extrusion and material spreading, and it's simple as just a quick slider bar from going from 0 to 100, so you can easily test out your part in a matter of minutes. And last but not least, we have mass optimization with a factor of safety, because before, all we were able to do was reduce it by a percentage, but now we can have a factor of safety, so you can consult your industry standard, or you can either hit an allowable stress for your part. So that's a lot that was changed in generative design, but we're really excited for you guys to play around with it and to test out all the new features. And with that, I'll hand it over back to Andrea Hall.
Awesome, thank you. Oh my gosh, that was so much information. And remember everyone, we are recording this session, and we will be sending the recording out to each of you, as well as posting it to our YouTube channel. So if you missed something, do not worry, we will be sending the link out to you. And that is the same for all of our future sessions. If you have any that you are interested in, and for some reason you know you're not going to be able to make it to the session, just go ahead and register, and we'll be sure to send the link out to you. Like I said, our next session is going to be part 2 of today's session. Thursday, August 16th with Jason West, another one of our very talented managers over here at Saratech, and he'll be covering lots of great things, and you should be getting that email as well with the link. But you can always register right on our website under the events tab. I wanted to make sure you all knew about Solidedge University 2018 coming up here in Orlando, Florida, where I am from, believe it or not. That is going to be on August 23rd, coming up really quickly here. The tickets for that are $99, but we do offer a VIP free passes to our customers. If you are not yet a Saratech customer, you are welcome to reach out to me, and I can speak with our marketing department and see if they can work anything out for you to be able to attend. But we would love to invite each and every one of you, as well as your colleagues and anyone else that's just interested in anything having to do with Solidedge. It's always a really great session every single year. Lots of exciting things coming, and it is an all-day session. Lunch will be served. And if you're ready to take it to the next level, we offer lots of other things here at Saratech other than just design software. So a very exciting thing that has really taken off this year has been additive manufacturing. We're working with 3 really great companies right now, Markforged, HP, and Big Rep. We also offer, people just like Kelsey can come and help you with services on site. And so we also offer services and training. So please reach out to us if you're interested in any information on any of that. And make sure you follow us on all of our social media sites, including YouTube. Like I said, you can go ahead and just start following us on YouTube, and that way, if you subscribe to our page, you can get all of the updates about when we post new videos. That's always the best way. And if you don't mind, just stick around for about 30 seconds after the session. A little survey will pop up, and just let us know how we did today. We would really, really appreciate it. Checking one more time before we sign off. I don't think we had any questions today, Kelsey. But if you think of anything, actually, one just popped up. If you think of anything, though, while you're filling out the survey, please feel free to type your questions and comments in there. Kelsey, the one question that just came up from Stephen is, can you do a generative study on a sheet metal part?
That's a good question. I believe you can. If it's going to be in a convergent modeling, then you should be able to. But I can test it out and send you an example. Yeah,
that would be great. I'll send you Stephen's information after this, and then you guys can maybe link up. Maybe you can help with that. Okay, awesome. Again, thank you all so much. Please stick around for just 30 seconds. Let us know how we did today. We do send that feedback off to our managers. We do review your feedback for future sessions. So we appreciate you all being here today, and we hope to see you on the next session on the 16th. Have a wonderful day. Bye.
Bye, everyone.